Ladies and gentlemen, we have got a red player spawning in the north. Their name is Darikas, and they are the dwarves on the other side. Green color, green skin. Astro HD is playing as the orc. Let's see what they can do. Occultist is a really nice pick for this one. I really like it for the matchup in general. On the other side, we've got the Warrior of the Depths coming out for the doors. We've got the Observation Tower. I think, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at Don Hyperion. This is his style. And he also sent a replay, so that really helps with my investigation of finding out who this is. But yeah, you got the resources, you know, for the Observation Tower at the beginning. It's just that you're paid for it by not making the additional hunting cabin. Now, the Warrior of the Depths easily deals with all these zombos, of course, and can move along a little bit faster than the Occultist. So that's a really nice perk to have right there. The Mole Rider comes across the map, slaps the Occultist in the back, and yeah, slows him down a lot. Do that several times in a row. It adds up really timing-wise. You can see the Warrior of the Depths is already here. And what's that second one? There's a second War Rider, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a quick hunting cabin pair. Usually that is just one hunting cabin at the beginning. But yeah, we have also quad lumber mill follow-up. There should be one more coming out soon. Anyways, the Mole Rider is doing a great job pulling away the undead, which is very nice to see. It's gonna reduce the experience that the Occultist can get from this. And guess what? The Warrior of the Depths stays ahead. Very nicely down there. We've also got the defensive axe wielder to protect all these workers so that they don't have to jump in the observation tower. You know, even though the observation tower saves them from trouble, they still stop gathering resources, so there is opportunity cost there. It's resources you have, you would have gathered, but you're not going to. Anyways, the undead slowly whacking away at space. It's not gonna work, obviously. The undead is not gonna destroy this. Speaking of destruction, where did the Mole Rider go? Is it dead? Oh, yeah, it actually died to the undead. Well, still, good job by that. As for skills, I'm pretty sure it's just gonna be Def Resilience, Brute Force as usual, with Def Resilience giving armor as the Occultist gets weaker in health. Then we've got Demonic Pact. Spawns the circle, makes his damage high. We've got Blood Confluence, which leeches health off of bleeding targets. And Blood Sacrifice to apply bleeding near the Occultist. So yeah, put him near a big army. He can fully replenish his health in a matter of seconds. Very annoying in the mid game when you actually have a bigger army. And for the dwarves, well, you really are gonna need some chunky units to ignore the bleeding damage that this guy can cause. But you also need a lot of units to deal with the orc hunters. Usually ends up being a matter of balloons. But not always. Sometimes the dwarves just play infantry. And Don Hyperion is certainly one of those people that does that. I'm so certain this is Don Hyperion. Well, it might just be him spectating somebody that plays like him, but come on, what's the chances? He's got a signature style. He can multitask very well. He does this defensive tower thing, which he recycled, by the way, to get the resources back. And as the threat of early game resource losses is essentially gone now. Quite a bit of potion chugging from the Warrior of the Depths. But you know, he also had Recuperate. So maybe not much potion chugging after all. So he just has a skill to restore his health. Now the Medusa is getting cut down by the orcs. That leaves us with the other Medusa camp, which the Axolotls are now checking on to make sure that it's safe to actually go there. Medusa Stalker going down soon enough. And that will be the last of that. What if the Depths reaches level 4? And the Occultist might actually get that as well, because there was teleportation here to get across. Now going after the Medusa. It hasn't lost any Warg Riders so far, but I'm about to curse that real good. Oh my. All three are dead. The curse worked. I'm helping Don Hyperion, unwittingly. Or very wittingly, I don't know. It's a scanning post now. Should be easy enough to hold against just this many dwarves, but then again, you got bubble shields from the skill. It's called Starward Song. 130 points of damage can be absorbed by this. Now, of course, the bleeding damage will strip them off any of that. Last Medusa does drop. And now the players are essentially equal in the experience department at level 4.4. The orcs control more of the sectors, and it's very difficult for the dwarves to upgrade these. So they'll stay ahead now. And I think Astro HD should have no issues going tier 2 after this. Just a few more buildings to make and should be fine from here. Now, the scouting posts for the orcs are a little bit awkward. They provide 3 workers, but their buildings use 2 workers. So you either make a building with half efficiency or you upgrade the scouting post and then you can make 3 buildings fully occupied. It's expensive. You'll stay in tier 1 a lot. But there's this extra food. You can use that on just a bunch of Warg Riders, which I think should be the plan. Spend the wood on not Scoundrel, but instead buildings. Profit in the economy, pay no taxes. Go tier 2. That's usually the plan. Nice cut down off the workers there, but the scouting post is upgrading. Gotta be careful that the cultist not to run out of the circle. The circle is important. Oh, 400 health on that thing. Man, if the X-Wielder just stayed, it would have helped a lot, I think, but Darikas doesn't want to risk it. And the scouting post will absolutely definitely upgrade to a frontier post. Can no longer really deal any relevant damage there. So yeah, the Arikas will have to either go tier 2 or double down on tier 1 here by upgrading more and more sectors. There's really just one more left. But, you know, if the dwarves actually ended up going this way, there's more land to grab. Yagota's chasing the Axiolers is absolutely hilarious, I think. Wants to apply blood to all of these, but if you split up the Axiolers sufficiently to get a nice surround on the base, can't apply blood to all of them, but there it is. The pull. The pull getting free of them, now slowly bleeding them 16 damage per second for quite good duration, so you keep applying that blood. You will do a lot of damage, but it takes time. It takes time, and guess what? The orcs do have time. Tier 2 is achieved. The War Pit is coming up a little bit early for my tastes. There's no iron mines yet, you see. Which means we can't make any of the tier 2 units. Hunters, Brutes, Ravagers, all the good stuff against dwarves. Not accessible right now, but there's a huge tier 1 army. Astro HD certainly has the food and wood to spend on it, but the food and wood also could go into the base upgrades, which I think should take priority as of right now to get those iron mines out. But we pumping. Oh, there's the first iron mine. Second iron mine, third iron mine. Okay, we're in business. It's exactly what was needed. Looks like Darikas is also going to the store, shopping for a really good tier 3 armor plus a tier 2 weapon. We don't get to see that one very often, a tier 2 weapon that is. But if anybody does buy it, it is Don Hyperion. It looks fancy enough. I like it. Also, I put it in the main hand. The offhand weapon barely does anything, so not that not that the Warrior of the Depths needs a buff. He's pretty good. After all the buffs that he has received, he's kind of a bit of a monster now, so Dwarf's definitely very viable. Generally speaking, SpellForce 3 is so very, very balanced. You can be any race, you can win with anything. Maybe some races are a little bit easier, like orcs. You can go a little bit by the numbers, which, you know, if you have the macro for it, it's totally fine. It's a little bit difficult to play low unit counts against them, but if you can figure yourself out there, you know, that's all good. And then I appear in certainly one of those people that knows how to play against orcs. Taking efficient fights all the time, killing those scoundrels, getting a lot of experience for them. Actually, one of the disadvantages of orc is that these light units, they actually give a lot of experience off, and you can take these very favorable fights for you that end up giving you the level 5. That said, if the orcs go heavier on tier 2 stuff like hunters, oh boy, that is a very difficult matchup for the orcs. For the dwarfs, sorry. It's very difficult for them because none of their tier 2 barracks units actually can hold their own against hunters. You got the Earth Shapers, which are technically a little bit tanky. They have a little bit of range, so they can fight back, sort of. But they don't have any default pierce resistance. So we'll be taking a lot of damage, and the hunters can just focus fire them. But you can kind of see it already being a problem with the warg already. Benefit of the warg over let's say the hunters would be that the warg can actually chase. Oh yeah, we're about to switch to hunters here for Astro HD right now. Not a single one, but I'm sure they're coming very soon. Some more sector upgrades, but yeah, you can see the stockpiled iron bars. Each of the hunters is 4 iron, so that's gonna disappear very suddenly. 14 total Earth Shapers on the map right now. No upgrades, but the workshop is being made, so perhaps we will get to see that. There's also Granite Hall, which I'm really hoping will be for a bunch of balloons, because balloons have insane range. If you can keep the orcs at bay with that, if you can build up those numbers, those are actually one of the things that can actually beat the hunters. No upgrades for the Warg Riders yet. One of the best upgrades in the game if you can get it. It's pretty expensive, but making this damage 50 and a health 700 plus. I think it's 700, not 750. After the upgrade, it's very good. Anyway, very big increase. Yeah, the Earth Shapers are taking a pretty good fight once again. They are bleeding, but a ton of the War Riders are going down, and the Warrior of the Depths achieves level 5 first, but he's weakened, and a lot of damage is coming through. Oh my god. Combat focus helps offset this weakening at least a little bit. Whew. And so does the armor. Yeah, you can see how good combat focus is with the weakening having gone away. Also adds cleaving to the attacks, which then also stacks together with Relentless Rage itself. Every attack increases the core attack, so that's also a pretty big deal. Precision has been picked too, so it gains 2 focus points at least for every attack. Comes in very useful for a hero that doesn't have any regeneration whatsoever. But I think this might be the fight where the Occultist himself gets level 5. He is getting a good amount of damage in there on the Earthshapers, so Darikas needs to pull away. Oh, he walks out of the circle. If you walk out of circle, it deals damage to you. Okay, it's gonna be Fire Golems. Our Dwarf player is feeling very confident here, not seeing any of the tier 2 units. It's gonna be Brutes instead of Hunters for whatever reason, which I certainly don't approve of. They're just not as good at fighting directly. They have some siege damage. 30 of their damage here is actually siege. With 120, that's actually just 90 strike damage that they have. So they're not that much better than an Earthshaper. You could say they're not better than an Earthshaper. They have a lot of health, sure, but they don't deal that much damage, and their attacks are slow at 0.4 per second, whereas the Hunter has 0.5 per second. he has 110 damage and then bleeding damage on top. 20 bleeding damage on top of that. Now, granted, you can't stack the bleeding damage, yeah, but it's still pretty meaningful. Alright, now here comes the stone pole. Door's taking over an important base here for sure. And did I hear the sounds of... Yeah. Here it comes. I'm pretty sure I heard the protective glyphs earlier. Although none of these guys have lost focus, so I don't know. I'm imagining it, I think. I just want it to happen. Let's see if we can will it into existence. It looks like tier 3 is going to be the priority for Darika's. Buying a bunch of potions. A second weapon? Whoa, he prioritized the offhand weapon. That's wild. But now we're symmetrical. It added essentially no relevant damage. 33. Instead of... That would have been like 25, 27, something like that. I forget. I think it's gonna be like that. Something around that number. But yeah, Berserkers is gonna be the objective from this. And we'll see if anything else comes out. Let's just do a double check on the infrastructure. We only have one granite hall and it's not busy, so... There's a dropship. Whoa. Okay, I'm curious what that's all about. We've got a bunch of wyverns now from Astro HD. We've got hunters. They're not in a very good number just yet, so I don't like that part. Ooh, we activated way too many of those Earthshaper shields. As in, all of them. You should always try to stagger that, so as to not use up all the focus. And that way you can keep it going for much longer. Also, it looks like the Warrior of the Depths is going to get out of here. Still no level 5 for the Occultist, which is an absolute disaster as he got some really good skills at level 5 himself. Warrior of the Depths stays alive very comfortably. Now, they won't be able, these guys, to actually kill the Occultist, I don't think, especially if he chugs potions like that. But you sure can kill the army. That's essentially what you gotta do against the orcs with the Occultist. You ignore the Occultist and you hit everything else. Try not to lose your hero to pull-ins and whatever, but yeah. Astro HD hasn't yet picked up anything. There's the dropships flying in, picking up some stuff. Looks like axe wielders only. Is this pickup micro for weak units? I think it might be. Where are we going with this? New meta confirmed. Warrior of the Depths getting picked up at low health. Oh, that's hot. I like it. The dropship micro. We needed this. We needed this to happen so much longer ago, but you know, in regular games where there's a lot of hunters, this is so difficult to pull off because this thing has negative 25% pierce resistance. If the hunters even look at this thing wrong, it just drops on the floor and dies. Doesn't even get to drop on the floor, actually, it explodes. Alright, we've got a farm transition from supposedly both players by now. Moonsilver's Matter is already up, so immediate tier 3 setup from our dwarves coming in. And that's gonna be for the Berserker axes, I'm assuming, first, and then maybe a bunch of Pyromancers will be added. Generally a very good idea to switch from strike damage to magic damage against orcs. I mean, look at these resistances. Minus 25, that's a 25% increase in damage that you will deal, so yeah, pretty good upgrade, you could say. Warrior of the Depths ready to cause some trouble. The orcs just don't have the numbers, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think they can last particularly long here. Once again, all the shields are getting popped. This is an intimidation tactic, I'm thinking, at this point. Good job saving the boy once again. Although I don't think that Fire Golem is actually upgraded. Some of the shields are getting turned off early, or they're just running out of mana. Thinking it's the latter. Anyway, this many Earth Shapers, you can just use them as siege. The dropship is gone. Went poof. But oh well. Gotta do what you gotta do. The Warrior of the Depths is going to town on that hero. Won't quite be able to catch it, I don't think. Not without precision stance being on and increasing the movement speed. And I guess you could rely on sentries as well with their deployed mode to slow down the target. If you want chase, or the berserkers. You know what you can do. This game is over, very over, obviously. But what you can do is trigger precision stance, get that 28% movement speed, but you can also add the war cry from the berserker to it and add another 30% movement speed. So you'll be zooming around with that Warrior of the Depths like crazy. And then you can slow targets with the sentries deploy. It's a pretty big deal. Or slowing orbs even. I think this Warrior of the Depths could be quite a bit of a hero killer hunter thing. Hopefully we'll get to see some of that eventually. But yeah, well done by Don Hyperion, or whoever Darikas is gonna be. 90% chance it's Don Hyperion, honestly, but yeah. Subscribe, join the Discord, send me your replays. Try out the free edition of SpellForce 3. You can find it. It's called SpellForce 3 Versus. It's on Steam. It's on the Epic Store. Take your pick. And see you in the next one.